This is Secure Payments' therapy session, galloping through the cosmos at light speed. Photons, photons, photons. Like and subscribe, and thanks for being a part of the creative process. I feel glorious, victorious. I'm having an amazing Monday. Hope everyone else is having an amazing Monday as well. I feel orgasmic all over. My body is like my things are radiating. I feel good. I feel happy. I was listening a little bit to it was Oprah and this guy who wrote this book about happiness. He teaches at Harvard, and he offers a class on happy. Man, I tell you what, I can offer, and I thought about all the classes, all the secure payments classes I can offer, like secure payments critical thinking class, I thought that was cool, because I think critical thinking is important. But he was talking about happy, and he gave this very complicated idea or thought process on what happy is. And he was like, happy is not a feeling. And I was just like, I didn't really agree with everything he said. But I listened anyway. Honestly, I couldn't even really understand a lot of it. I was just like, it shouldn't be that complicated is what I was thinking. But I love Oprah, and I think she wanted to know the science behind happiness. So it was like this, they're studying the science behind happiness. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I may not understand it entirely, but I feel happy. That's like the most important part. Sometimes I don't feel as happy, and I think that's okay too. Sometimes I feel anger. Sometimes I feel empathy and compassion. Great compassion. I feel a lot of compassion a lot of times. Gratitude all the time. This is Secure Payments. So there's a lot of feelings that I feel, and happy is like, Oh, but one of the cool things that he said that really stood out to me was he said that, and Oprah gave an example of how she had her first Babe Ruth. She was living with her grandparents, and no running water, dirt road, and people were like, they were like, oh, like Benjamin Franklin, or people were making jokes, basically saying how far in time she was when she grew up, and basically she just didn't have a whole lot, very modest, very humble beginnings. And she said first time she got a Babe Ruth candy, she ate it by herself, and then after that, like she wanted to share that, and when she shared it with others, like her cousins came and she chose to eat the candy, then it was like way better. Like everything just tasted so much better, because she was just like, doesn't it taste good, And I thought that was really cool. And I think, and that stood out to me, because it's just like, yeah, every now and then, we do need that. We need family. We need family. We need that support group. And when you're doing things alone sometimes, or a lot of times, for me, it's fun. It's exciting. Especially if it's something that you once wished to do, and you're doing it. It's fun. It's gratifying for you. And honestly, I don't always want to be around a whole lot of people because I got work to do. I got things to do. But the times that I am around people that I love and I'm sharing memories and building memories, I think that's amazing. I think it's amazing when you're building memories by yourself too, especially if you have a platform where you can share it. You know, if you got a platform where you could share or build memories of the things that you've done and share it with your friends and family, because they're not always going to be there. They're not always going to be around. So yeah, maybe I'll take that. I was like, maybe I'll take that course, but I don't, you know, I don't know. Maybe I will take that course, or maybe I'll listen to a few of his lectures and learn more about him. Also, I've been learning about, I was learning about, Shannon. Yeah, this guy. He's an inventor. I for Claude Shannon. Yeah, that's been in my feed lately. Learning more about Claude Shannon, and he has like this. Kind of like a video documentary on YouTube, and it's really cool. It was shot very well. It was like, it almost looked like a Hollywood like production. Like it looked AI. The whole video looked AI, and it was posted like a year ago or something. I don't know. It felt like it was posted yesterday, but I never knew who Claude Shannon was, but I was listening to something, and there was like, he's the father of AI, and I was like, oh, that's cool. So he was kind of like showing a lot of him and his wife were showing inventions that he made, and he's talking about how, you know, there's like the reporter, she was asking, she said, well, you know, didn't you want to make money from your inventions and stuff like that? And he was just like, no, I make all my money in the stock market. And I thought that was brilliant, because he's got so many inventions, and he reminded me of me. Like, he reminded me of me in a lot of ways, because it's like, I got a lot of inventions. They're like ideas, you know, and I think our inventions, the curiosity of it all, it's like the curiosity builds the invention. You know what I mean? Like, you're curious about something, and so you commit to something, and that builds something. You know, it's the invention, whatever that thing is. It could be a business idea. For me, I'm like, if I were to put it in words, it'd be like a creative entrepreneur, creative commerce. Yes, this is secure payments. Creative commerce. Yeah, creative commerce. Because growing up, I had to like invent different ways in my mind on how to save money, because just the idea, like, okay, take for example, someone tells you, oh, you should save money, but they don't tell you why you should save money. And then when they show you why you should save money, it's like, well, that's not attractive. It's like, I'm just gonna spend every dollar I get. But if you can make saving fun, if you can make saving money fun, then it becomes less about the money and more about the idea, like the invention that you created. It becomes more about the creativity. It becomes more of an art form. Yes, this is secure payments. It becomes more of an art form, and I love that. Like, I would, there were times where I would like, I'll have, you know, take, you know, I'll have a chunk of money, and I'm like, okay, for every for every dollar I save, I, you know, like from okay, I could have walked there, or I could have taken the bus, or I could have taken an Uber, or I could have bought a car. For every thought that I had of doing that and I chose not to, I put that into the savings. Like, man, you know what? Yesterday I could have spent $50 on an Uber. I could have spent $50 on an Uber, but I decided to walk. I put that $50 into the savings account, you know? And then to like almost trick my brain in a way, I hide the account so I don't see it, you know? like almost like a dog hiding his bone kind of thing, you know, like, or someone just like putting treasures away. And I think that builds a whole lot more in your subconscious than we know. For me, I know it does, because it's just like, then it's like you're not always focused on the money, all right? Like, you're not always focused on the you're not focused on or being influenced by the marketing of money, because money has like a marketing strategy. Okay, so for example, you get on Instagram or on YouTube or whatever platform you use, and you know, it's always a whole lot of, oh, this, and I just bought this, you know, $2.5 million watch, or I bought some new grills that cost, I bought, oh, I was gonna sit there, but it's wet. I bought like some grills for my teeth, and it costs, $500,000 or something like that. That'll make you think, oh man, I need to keep on, I need to go out there and make some more money, like, or I need to go out there and work harder than I'm already working. When you're fine, you're doing good, so the marketing of money can be a big influencer on you. So yeah, the other book I was reading, I was reading this book calling Scaling Smart, and the authors were talking about how they're calling it Bigorexia, on how it's like, they go to these conferences and people are like, oh, I got 1,000 doors, but I want 10,000 doors. And they're like, why? What's your why? Why do you want to have 10,000 doors? And it's because, like, I think innately we have like this, I think most humans have like this jealousy kind of complex, where it's just like, we look at someone who has more, and there's always going to be someone who has more than you, no matter how much you have, in terms of money. And then we think that, oh, we don't have enough. We got to keep on grinding it out. But if you just focus, pay attention, and practice gratitude, gratitude brings awareness. Practice gratitude, you see, like, oh, you're doing fine. You have enough to do everything that you need to do, and maybe more. So yeah, that Bigorexia thing, that stood out to me the most in that, and Scaling Smart. Yeah, also fogginess. I wanted to talk about fog for a second. There were times where I may have been in a fog. I'm just gonna be honest. There were times where I may have been in a fog, and I'd like to say everything happens for a reason, because I'm no longer in that fog. So yeah, I guess everything does happen for a reason. I may have needed to have a foggy brain at that time. I needed to go through like my global warming stages to like regulate and be more just be a lot more solid with my decision makings, because sometimes we don't always know what decisions to make. I don't always know the decisions to make, so I try to get as much information as I can to make a well-informed decision. And sometimes I just make the decision, and it's just like, okay, I don't like to use the words mistakes, because I like to say, oh, everything happens for a reason. But there are times it's like, I made that decision. Why did I make that decision? And I usually reflect afterwards and try to make a better decision and trying to get better and better at the creative process. And that's all you can do. Do your best and try to, just make better decisions about your life. And my point of bringing up the fog is, when you're foggy, when things are foggy, the visibility is not as clear. So you're probably almost always not gonna make the best decision when you're in a fog. And that fog can come in many different ways. It can come in the number one way that fog can come is through people, through a person. If someone thinks they know something, they know about you, or they know enough about you when they don't know enough about themselves, and they say things that are influential and using the basis is love, then your brain may become foggy. You can think like you can be like you can be like a billionaire and feel poor if the fog if there's a fog that is being that's influencing you. Makes sense to me. This is secure payments. It makes sense to me. So yeah, fog and happiness, the fog, and yeah, and I talked about Claude, Shannon. All these things run through my mind, so it's just like, I know, this is a part of my invention. To be honest, this is secure payments. This is a part of my invention because I know there's things that is always on my mind, and I can't write fast enough. And then when I do write, I don't always put in all the details that I want to put in. Like the other day, I went to an area. Twin Peaks. I went to this area, and I had been there 3 times, right? 3 times I'd been there. Well, that was my 3rd time, my last time going there. But the first time I walked there. The second time I rode on an e-bike, and the 3rd time I was driving there. And I've noticed patterns with my life and the places that I've gone. And everywhere that I've gone has been for a reason. There's some invention. There is something in my mind, something that I asked for, that is leading me to these places. And yeah, I just I kind of surrendered to that, because I'm like, whoa, I did this again. And I remember being in I remember living in where was I living? I've lived a few places. But I've lived a few places, and the same pattern kept happening. I would walk it, I would ride it, a bike or something like that. And then I would be driving there. And it was just it was some type of completion for me internally. And going back and studying my videos, studying my notes. These are my notes. This is secure payments. Going back and studying my notes, I learn more and more about myself. And I get more information about how to make better decisions. Or how to just make decisions. And you get better and better and better at the creative process. So, yeah, I'm getting better at the creative process. I feel good about it. I feel good about my channel. I feel good about my business. I think a lot of the things that we want sometimes, or a lot of things that I want a lot of times, have already been created. I just need to step into that awareness that it's been created already, if that makes sense. Like it's like having the awareness that everything that you need is at your fingertips. But if you're in a fog, you're just not gonna see it. It's just gonna be like a whole lot of smoke. You're not gonna, so yeah. I think that's pretty much it, though. I think I pretty much got it out. Yeah, there was something else I wanted to talk about as it related to making decisions externally, like, because I talk a lot of internal, but when it comes down to other situations, like taking tests and not having enough information, or just having just the bare minimum of information, it's like, I feel like that's why I felt like tests never really, I don't know. Tests didn't always work for me. Or weren't the best, and I don't think that's a good way to like start interviews. Like you start an interview, or you want to interview a candidate, or maybe it is, I don't know. I guess you want to get as much information about that candidate as possible. Yeah, you want a whole lot of information about the candidate if you want to hire them, especially if it's a platform that you built and you want it to remain successful. Yeah, you want to get as much information as you possibly can about them to make an informed decision on whether this person is the right candidate. And I feel like, Claude Shannon was talking about that. He was talking about how there's more information and gibberish than there is in like a beautiful poem, or like a famous poem, or like some Shakespeare work. Like, there's more information. Yeah, I'm like having like an epiphany right now. This is Secure Payments. I'm having an epiphany. I had the epiphany when he said it, and I gotta go back and look at it, and I'm gonna post it on Instagram. So follow me on Instagram at Secure Payments. But yeah, and I just think about how much information I've given out. How much information have you given out, Secure? A lot. A lot. So it's just like, if you don't know me by now, you will, you know what I'm saying? And honestly, I feel like that's also cool too, because backstory, this is Secure Payments. Backstory, I've put in tons of applications for jobs, because I'm like, I gotta support myself. I gotta support myself. And then when you're around foggy bottoms, they'll make you think that you're never doing enough and you need to get a job and stuff like that. I'm like, whoa, but I feel like I'm doing okay. I'm still doing the things that I want to do, but then you put in 90 applications. And I'm like, you know what? I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Meta's platforms. There's a lot of information. So if I get like an unfortunate letter, a denial letter, I think it's safe to assume, and I don't like to assume, but I think it's safe. It's a little safe to assume that maybe they saw you and decided not to. Based on the information that they had on you, coupled with your resume, they decided not to. And that's okay. That's okay. Like, I don't feel bad about it. And I'm like looking at it, I'm like, well, at least I made the attempt. I applied to work at Visa, but maybe it's not the right time. That's how I look at it. I applied to work at a lot of places, okay? And I've just been archiving all of the denial letters. But that's okay, is my point. That's okay. And the attempt is never wasted. And what's for you is for you. And trust that the information that you put out there about yourself, you will come back to you. So the right job, that is the most convenient for you, the right partner that is the best for your spirit, your anxiety, whatever you have, it's all working out for you. So everything's happening as it should. This has been Secure Baby's therapy session, galloping through the cosmos at light speed. Photons, photons, photons. Like and subscribe, and thanks for being a part of the creative process. That's all I got for now. Peace.